Hi and welcome to another Alpha Challenge video. In this video you'll see gameplay of SHAFFAR Rogue. The goal behind SHAFFAR Rogue is to use Nexus Prince Shaffar and get it as soon as possible using your tutor cards such as Dig for Treasure or Raiding Party, which can help for it. The idea behind it is with the buff that comes from the Shaffar, it will go onto your Buccaneers. Your Buccaneers summon a copy of themselves, so when you use the Shaffar, the spell burst is hopefully going to land on the Buccaneer. The Buccaneer then summons itself twice. Then you can use another spell to send it to another minion or to a Buccaneer as well. And then you can use the buff eventually to be going onto your South Sea deckhand. My deck is a little bit different to other SHAFFAR Rogue decks because I'm only using one South Sea deckhand. The idea behind that is because it allows me to tutor easier using Dig for Treasure, because Dig for Treasure is strong if you already have the Nexus in your hand, or if you have a certainty to almost get it. But you basically want to be getting the Nexus as soon as possible, because that's your ultimate win condition. This deck cannot deal enough damage if it doesn't have the Nexus. So if your goal is to get the Nexus, the idea then is to get it's less about you getting your South Sea deckhand because that's your finisher, but more so about getting your Nexus. The other thing that I have in this deck that I would change if I wasn't doing a free to play way that I did for it, I'd be changing out the scrap heap that is just getting played at the moment. I'd change that for another Lucky Comet, because Lucky Comet, the way that you want to play that is you want to play your Nexus down, you want to get your buff onto your Buccaneer, then use the Lucky Comet, and any of the cards that you use with your Lucky Comet, you want to make sure that it's either another Buccaneer, which is generally the card that you want to aim for, or you aim for the lowest cost one, the lowest cost minion that's in that pool. Because ultimately the idea behind it is if it gets stuck in your hand and has a bunch of the spell burst on it, you want to be able to get it played as quickly as possible and be able to put it back onto your other minions that you actually want it on.
I think it's still always dubious purchase here because I still want to try and get the Nexus. I'm gonna play the quick pick because once again it reduces down my likelihood. Like, this is always a targeted draw. And I'm gonna use the gear shift, so I'm just keeping the Dig for Treasure just this turn. Next turn I'll be using it no matter what. And since I've got the second Buccaneer, I did it this way just because they're not posing any damage on board, and the Dig for Treasure I'm trying to pretty much guarantee my Nexus, make it a lot more likely. So right now I've got a 1 in 2 chance of it being the Nexus with the South Sea deckhand and the Nexus in my hand. I drew through more cards because I wanted to make it so I could increase the likelihood of this being a minion that I wanted, which was the Nexus. So this turn it's always play Dig for Treasure first, see what I end up getting. They're using the Triangulate to get the Asteroid, but I don't think that really matters too much. Okay, I got a second Shadow Step, so it's always this turn playing the Dig for Treasure. I didn't get what I wanted, unfortunately. I can either use... I think it's still play the coin, draw a card, see if I get it now. Got a Valera's Gift, so Band of Knives here. Still don't have it. Gear Shift. So Gear Shift's useful even though I'm getting rid of one of my 3/3s just because I can use Raiding Party if I need to. Use Prep. Dig for Treasure. I got the Nexus now, so do I want to activate it this turn? I don't think so. I think I want to do it next turn so I can play down the Nexus and I can use other stuff. Just establishing the weapon's probably more important. Okay, so they're getting bigger asteroids, so it's going to be dealing 3 now. And they're shuffling some more into their deck. Okay, so luckily for me, I will have a board next turn, so I won't need to worry as much about this. So I can play down my Nexus Prince, and then I can do a backstab onto the 3/6, see what ends up happening. Hits onto the South Sea deckhand, so that's a little bit annoying. Lay down the South Sea deckhand, use the backstab on my 3/3, guarantees it onto here.
I also didn't use the Lucky Comet just then because I wanted to make sure that my Buccaneer had it first before playing the possibility of the Lucky Comet for it there. And the Shadow Step play is going to be the next thing that I'll be doing, so I'll be using the Shadow Step on the 5/4 more than likely. But I also, in that turn, I could have used the Lucky Comet as well before using that because I all that I'm doing is trying to establish as much damage as I can for them.
And then next turn's pretty much going to be South Sea Deckhand, Lucky Comet, and hope that it's one of my things, otherwise I still should be fine anyway. I could Shadow Step this 6/2 if I want to as well, but I think it's probably more important just keeping the minion on the board. So they're probably going to have Oracle this turn, they still haven't played one yet. They've got 12 asteroids in their deck. Meteor Storm's fine. It clears this board, but I still have stuff that I can do. Buccaneer's a really good draw, so's Raiding Party. It's fine. It's always South Sea Deckhand here, and always Lucky Comet. Get the Buccaneer. It buffs up the Buccaneer. I can trade with this. Play down my Buccaneer. Gets 3, so I can Shadow Step this back up, and I'm pretty sure that's lethal. I'll just check once it comes into my hand. So 6, yeah, that's so 6, 6, 6, 18, so it should be 20 on this. So even if it wasn't Buccaneer on that, I still was in a pretty decent situation, because I'd be able to deal quite a lot of damage just through those base bits. So maybe it was getting the Buccaneer back with the Shadow Step, and just playing it down for tempo.
Will serve me in death.
It's full mulligan everything. Okay, so I've got Raiding Party, I've got 2 Dig for Treasure, so this is guaranteed Nexus, so I can play the Dig for Treasure just freely. To use the Dig for Treasure, it might get me one with the coin. Just pass.
This is showing the benefit of why I like having just the 4 minions in the deck, because with this sort of hand it's guaranteed to get the Nexus out really easily.
Raiding Party, it gets me the 3 cards, and then my Dig for Treasure is guaranteed Nexus. Okay, and just pass. Next turn, Shaffar Backstab. So if they have a Dirty Rat, I've got a lot of minions in my hand, that wouldn't be ideal for them, so I'm kind of fine like that. I've got a Shadow Step, which is quite good, so I'm just going to play down the Nexus and then backstab their 2/2. See what it ends up hitting. It's my Buccaneer, which is good. I'm just going to chill another turn. More Impulse are okay for them, like it doesn't really mean too much for me. Valera's Gift. Backstab. Lay down my Buccaneer. Use the backstab on the 2/8. If it lands on this, I'm going to go for another one. Land it on there. Land it on there. So that's 8 if I wanted it, but I don't really. I could still get it out of... I could go coin. That's probably too aggressive. I don't really need to go that aggressive, I don't think. I don't have a weapon established anyway. So just go fade. Next turn I establish the weapon. I can go South Sea Deckhand, use the charge, going face. I can then go coin to get it back onto here. So it gets 2 buffs. I have lethal. So play this down. Use Shadow Step. And just hit face. Turn 5, hey? They had no chance. Like, that hand was ridiculous. And that obviously was the sort of combo that you can get with this deck that's just insane. Because the South Sea deckhand, like, you want to use it as a finisher, but using it aggressively, you can use it aggressively if you do have the second one. But if you, I feel like the one has been enough for me. Because quite often I'm just wanting to get the Buccaneer anyway. Whenever I get South Sea deckhand, it just feels bad. Dig for treasure turn 1. That's a Buccaneer, that's fine. Next turn's probably Lucky Comet. Playing at Starship, so it's a little bit of a slower deck. Maybe it's not Lucky Comet. I think it's just established the weapon. Just see what I end up drawing into next turn, and then it's probably going to be Prep Lucky Comet, see what it is. If it's Elven Minstrel, I can just draw through the rest of the cards that I need. Quick pick. So I'm just going to go Prep and Lucky Comet. It might be something that I can get. Elven Minstrel guarantees me the So I'm going to go Coin, and then I'll get all the cards out of my deck. All the minions. I'm just going to use the weapon swing just because I don't really need to. I'm probably going to be playing the quick pick down next turn anyway. Okay, so using Dubious Purchase, they're going to be able to deal 4 damage like that. I drew a Shadow Step, which is good. I think it's always just play the Nexus and use the prep and see what ends up coming from it. It's onto there.
If I was to do this play again, I wouldn't have played the South Sea deckhand and the Breakdance, just because ultimately it did deal the 2 damage and get the 2-1 onto the board, but really it wasn't doing very much, and it made my hand a lot weaker by not having as many minions in it.
Gives me a little bit of a board to deal with whatever they're doing as well, because they're going to be using tempo for the next sort of plays. Kind of nice. It's fine. So they might end up trading like that, and then going face for the other bit. I got Backstab. That's less than ideal though because of the way that it ended up playing for me. So I established the quick pick, hit into the 2-1, see what I draw into. I'm just going to play the Rush Minion down, and then I might Backstab then Shadow Step it so I can get the buffs into all my minions. Shadow Step and then Backstab the Shadow Step minion. Shadow Step the minion that I backstabbed. The reason why I did that was because it gains an extra buff by doing that, and I'm not too concerned about the fact that they'd still have a 6-5. I don't really need the backstab that much for this matchup, because quite often it's just about establishing a board to be able to deal with them. Okay, so they're playing down the defense crystal. I've got a deafen, so I can just clear that. I don't have a way to get this back in my hand though, so it's always deafen here. Play down the Buccaneer. Use my dig for treasure, see what it lands on. 2 onto there, so just trade into that. This doesn't then apply to that, and I'll just hit with my weapon swing. I get a Fan of Knives, which is good. And I'll just pass over to them. Like I am floating a mana by doing this, but I don't really have any sort of play that I want to do with this, because I could lose the match if they end up having a way to deal with both of these, or this one. And since this deck runs Dubious Purchase, it's definitely not something that you want to be dealing with. And that obviously the rehydrate plus the Tarslick would have been able to clear it. Okay, so I've got from the scrap heap, so maybe I just go for it now. So play the weapon, play the South Sea deckhand, use Fan of Knives. That goes onto my Buccaneer. I'm not using the buff yet because I've still got this in my hand, so I'm going to go for the scrap heap now. Then I'm just going to go face with the 11 damage. if they've got Dubious Purchase, they're able to clear it, but there's still 15 cards left in their deck, so they'd need the second Dubious Purchase to really worry me.
I also left the South Sea deckhand on this board because I know that it's important to me establishing tempo against this deck. The Starship deck, in reality, you want to be making sure that your board is quite thick because they don't really have any ways to clear larger minions very easily.
Okay, so they're grabbing a copy of one of my cards. That clears. I think it's gonna be play down the Divine Shield minion, get the rush onto the board. Use the O Manager to get it onto like one of these other guys. Okay, so play down the Divine Shield. Use the Buccaneer. Use the O Manager to buff these. Or I could use Gear Shift and then it gets me these two. It gets me guaranteed onto that. No, it's O Manager here. Go face with O Manager. Gets the two buffs coming out into these. They still don't have Ceaseless Expanse very close either, which is a reason why that I'm doing this. And I'm just going to play the 7/7 down on this side. Hit with face. And just play it down, because this magnetic, they need to clear both of these, and they also need to clear this. I am just one. So they basically need to clear the whole board to be able to beat me here. I don't think they'd have a chance to, because their starship really isn't big enough yet, and I've got the win for here. Because they're not close enough to Ceaseless Expanse as well, which is the reason why I did it in this particular way. Okay, so I think they're using the second shadow. No, they're using a breakdown, so they might trade like that. Quick pick trades into there. Okay, so they're freezing all my minions. Oh, that doesn't freeze because I've still got this. Okay. So they were hoping to freeze all my minions with that spell, but fully deck. Okay, playing against a Druid. So they'll more than likely either be playing Dungar Druid or the Taunt Druid. Do you want to keep the quick pick? Probably not. Just try and get the Nexus out as fast as possible. Cactus Construct, so it's more than likely Hydration Station Druid. Dirty Rat. Just gonna chill with this because they're probably gonna use that Dirty Rat onto me to get rid of the 3/2. Okay, so I can trade into that. I can use the breakdance to get it back into my hand. I think that's probably going to be the play. Use the breakdance, get it back into my hand. Don't really want to waste the coins, but it going to my deck doesn't really matter either. So I'll just use the coin and then use that. Okay, I've got the card. So I think I just chill this turn. Next turn I have to play down the quick pick. Okay, so they're just trading into there, so they keep the 2/6 alive. Doesn't really matter too much for me because ultimately I'm just trying to, once I get the guy out, it means that it just will clear it anyway. So I'll hit with the quick pick into the 2/6 and draw a card. Backstab's okay, I guess. Since I've already hit into that, it's not as useful. But if they play down another minion, I can use the backstab. Okay, so they're going for a wild growth here. Prep's really good, so play this down. Use prep. Gets me the buff into the hand. I go Tarslick, Band of Knives. I think that might be the play, so... But then again, I lose a lot of cards doing that, so I might just go the Fan of Knives here and it just goes to 4. And then I'm just going to trade into it with my phase. A Gear Shift isn't useful right now, so I'll just pass. I still don't have any other minion in my hand to be able to push it onto, unfortunately. Broken Summons gets Defense Crystal. So they could get this. They don't have the way to get Ziliax just yet. They're gonna trade like that. Dig for Treasure gets me a minion, so I'm going for Dig for Treasure. Gets me the other Buccaneer, which is really good, so I play the Buccaneer. I could clear it just by using Backstab, but Tarslick might be important. So I might go for the Gear Shift here. See what I end up drawing into. I got a Breakdance as well, which is good, so I'm just going to trade into the 3/4. And then just pass. So they don't have access to Ziliax this turn, which is good for me. I should be relatively safe because I have the Buccaneer in my hand. And they obviously just got the Dirty Rat using the Cactus Construct. So it's not likely they're running another Dirty Rat to deal with it. I just need to make sure that I don't make my board more than 4 minions too often, because otherwise they'll be able to mind control tech it. Okay, so they're getting one of my 6/5s and they're just going to trade into it. Does that get an exact copy? I don't think so. I think it just gets the 3/2. Raiding Party gets me my South Sea deckhand. So I think I always do that, so I go coin. Play down the Buccaneer. Use the Raiding Party. Or I can Breakdance first to get out the 6/2. I think that's probably better. I'll get the 6/2 back into my hand so it buffs the 6/2 and then I can use the Raiding Party afterwards. So this buff goes onto here. I'll then use the Raiding Party afterwards to get the cards into my hand. And then just pass, so they can't do a mind control attack on my board, which means that they aren't sitting too well. Like, they'll be able to use Ziliax next turn, but I should have enough to be able to just take them out. Okay, so they're drawing 2 cards. They will have access to the Ziliax next turn. More than likely. I just need to assume they are going to be playing the Ziliax. Okay, so right now I'm dealing 24 damage. Do I have lethal? I think so. So I'm just going to backstab my 9/8. Lay down my rush dude. Use Tarslick. Quick pick. Yeah, that should be it. Just hit with that first. I'm just going to keep it in my hand just to double check that I do have enough, but I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, that's enough. Okay, so I've got the Nexus in my hand by the looks of it, based on the deck tracker. I'm gonna get rid of the Raiding Party, I think. This is a tough choice. Like, this is guaranteed to get out my Buccaneers. So we'll just keep it just in case. Because if my Dig for Treasure doesn't hit the card that I want, it will...
This was a little bit of a greedy keep, but against Death Knight, if you've already got the Nexus in your hand, basically I just want to get the minions and then I want to have some other ways to draw cards. So it's definitely was the safest choice to be able to do, because I get an extra coin as well, I get the raiding party, and in general, Death Knight isn't able to combo down that early.
Or I could go coin raiding party and it gets the other dudes back into my hand. And with the ships, that's fine. Yeah, I think it's definitely raiding party this turn. Like, it's not setting me up for anything, but I can use the Nexus next turn to get more than likely a buff onto one of these dudes. If I don't, it's not the end of the world. Got quite a few plagues in my deck, so I don't really want to be using the quick pick this game either. Okay. So play down the Nexus, use the coin, see what it lands on. I'm just gonna hold the Valera's Gift. I do take, am gonna take more than likely an extra 2 damage, or it's just gonna trade into me. I feel like they just need to go face if they're gonna try and deal with this. Surely they go face, they're not gonna trade. Yeah, it's a much better idea. Okay, so it's always get this out. So Valera's Gift. Always backstab for this situation. Play down my Buccaneer. Backstab into the 3-2. What's it gonna land on? One into the South Sea, one into the Buccaneer. So trade into that. There's no point shadow stepping here because I need to make sure that I have the minions on the board. This is showing 15 damage. Okay, so they've got a treasure. They're gonna rush into my 6-5. So it means I more than likely won't be able to get lethal next turn. So I think it's just establish the weapon. Play down the South Sea Deckhand. Use the Manager to get the buff onto this Buccaneer and then use Shadow Step onto the 5-4. Means next turn I'm guaranteed. I don't think the Plague Dex has a way to deal the 16 damage that's in my hand to burst me down. I don't think the treasures really matter either. Okay, so they'd need me to get 5 plagues in a row. Okay, so it's always coin here. Play on the Buccaneer. Play prep. Play the South Sea Deckhand and just go face.
Like all the mulligans, in general, you just want to be mulliganing for your Dig for Treasure and your Nexus Prince. Sometimes you can keep Raiding Party, but usually it's just get rid of everything. Yeah, and Fan of Knives, since it can cycle, it is something to think of, but I just ended up getting rid of it because ultimately I'm trying to get the combo as quick as possible.
2 quick picks. It's fine. Just pass. What could they be playing? Usually you can tell in the first few turns what they're playing. Dig for treasure. It didn't get anything, so it's either a Cycle Rogue or the Nexus Rogue, Shaffar Rogue.
I was looking to see if it ended up gaining a coin, because if it gained a coin, it would be the Weapon Rogue or Shaffar Rogue.
Okay, so they're playing a quick pick. That still doesn't tell me what it is. Right here. Lay down the quick pick, use the gear shift, see what I draw into. So they still don't know what I'm playing either, which is a good thing for me. I've got a dubious purchase in my hand, so it'll allow me to draw more cards. So if this is Nexus, they'll more than likely be playing that card down this turn that they just drew. Unless they don't have any minions in their hand, which is also possible. Okay, so this is Cycle Rogue for sure. Okay, so I won't be able to play Dubious Purchase this turn, unless I get a prep. Dig for Treasure is good. I'm going to draw a card first before I use the Dig for Treasure, just to see if I can get it. Get another minion out of my deck. I'll use the Dig for Treasure now. Got a Buccaneer. I'm just going to use the Deafen on this because there's not really anything else that that I'm worrying about against this rogue, this Cycle Rogue, that would be able to. I just need to try and get my hand emptied and be able to draw more cards. They still don't have the Giant. I don't think it happens this turn. Would it happen next turn? Maybe. Coin. Dubious Purchase, see what I got. I still don't have the Nexus, which is a problem. I'm going to be overdrawing a card too. Next turn's probably going to be Lucky Comet. Pretty much certain. Incendious. Fine. Raiding Party loss is okay. They now do know what I'm playing though. Actually, was it obvious what I was playing already? No, I just had a Deafen. Lucky Comet. Elven Minstrel always. But the problem is right now I can't use it because I could possibly I'm going to overdraw something if I did it. So if I go Tarslick, I can trade into that. Tarslick, draw a card, see what it is. So Manager. Just play down my Buccaneer and then hit into it. I will do a Shadow Step on it too. Okay, so it leaves me with a 3-2. Now it doesn't leave me with anything, obviously, because they just got an Eruption. They still have Oracle in their deck, so it's quite likely they will have the Giants turn this turn. They haven't used an Oracle yet. Prep Dubious Purchase. So up to 16. Maybe they won't have the Giant this turn. 19. No, they'll have it, because they've also got the quick pick.
Witness true arcane magic. How enigmatic.
So, with that, they draw enough cards. The Giant's coming out. One Giant breakdowns onto one. So they're gonna get 2 Giants onto the board. Man of Knives. I don't think that I have a way of dealing with this. So if I go for Fan of Knives, got a prep? Does that help? Don't think that does too much, but I'll just play the prep down. Use another Fan of Knives. It means I can at least clear these. Or at least clear one. I'm not going to clear both because I do need to make sure that I have this. Trade into this. Trade into this. I need to get it active this turn, so I'm just going to grab it, grab the Nexus, and then just hope for it.
The trade there, I should have also changed and got out the Giant instead, just in case they drew into a backstab, because the 8/8 would go back as an 8/8 into their hand at an 8 mana card.
So they more than likely will have it. Like, I don't think that I can heal too much here. They just need, what, an Eruption, some Asteroids. They've got a lot of cycle left to go, so yeah, I think they probably will have it, but we'll just wait and see. They're using a Breakdance. So that means they've got to play down the Oracle again. They've got 2 Eruptions left in their deck. They still haven't played any Asteroids into their deck though, so it might be okay. Get a Knives. Still no Eruption. They've used their Breakdances as well. Okay, play down the Nexus.
I will tend to personally.
Use Valera. Grab the backstab.
How entertaining.
Let on you. I still don't have a weapon, which is a problem for this. So backstab that. Gets me my charge minion. They've gotten rid of both of their oracles too, which is a bit of a thing for them. Hit with that. Breakdance. And then hit with that. Oops, I should have done this one. That's alright. I don't think it really matters. Like, I feel like they probably will have it. Surely. So they just need the Asteroids. They don't have an Oracle. They've used both Gear Shifts. They've got a Dubious Purchase though. So they could go here. Shadow Stab. They're going to play the Mauler down again. They more than likely will have the Dubious Purchase in their hand. But Dubious Purchase could, the Asteroids could hit the 3/1 and the 6/1.
Witness true arcane magic.
Yeah, that's more than likely lethal. I don't see that. I don't see myself surviving. Okay. That's interesting. Still alive. Always play this. Prep? Or is it I manage it for... No, it's always prep here. Play down this. Use the break dance on the 8/1. Play down this. Charge goes face. This goes here. Shadow Step goes on here. This goes here. Lay this down. I may end up losing because of this not being down on the board yet. Come on. It's just doing its random stuff. They got very unlucky. They should have won that game. But that's the reason why you don't concede. Like, you know, it was pretty much obvious they were going to get that to draw into. I think it's Shaman. More than likely going to be a Swarm Shaman.
Fear the coming storm.
I think I just get rid of everything here. I don't want to risk it like I did the other times. I've got the card. That's good. So now I just need to draw into a minion. 2. Well, I guess they're playing Swarm Shaman for sure. I think think I just hold this turn. Like, giving the buff. It's fine. Okay, I've got the Buccaneer, so I could go coin, backstab, Buccaneer. Coin, backstab, Nexus Shaffar, Buccaneer. Yeah, I think it's just establish the weapon this turn. Next turn I can't clear it either though. They still have the buff that's in their hand they can get for it, so I just hope it isn't win free. So I'm taking 6 damage from this turn. I don't think that really matters too much. Okay, so it's always Shaffar, it's always backstab to this. And it's always trade into it so I don't lose anything. Problem is next turn I don't have a way to get any buff going back into my hand at the moment. It's fine. Wait, why didn't that buff it? What just happened? I got the Fan of Knives here. Gets me a Lucky Comet, which is good. It means I can get an activator for this. Another Fan of Knives means I can full clear as well. So I think I just use the second Fan of Knives. Get into here. Don't really want to take the extra damage. So I'll just use the prep. And then next turn I can go Lucky Comet this, and then see what ends up coming from it. Oh, they might have another Murloc in their hand, that's probably the reason why I didn't activate. Okay, so 6/8. Divine Shield. Okay. Alright, so Lucky Comet first. Tolgath is great. Okay, so I get 3 6/5s. Always use the coin here. So that gets buffed off. Backstab. I'm gonna have to trade 2 of these into that. Fine though, I still have the board. They are 2 turns away from their big Murloc. I still haven't seen their other Murloc that was in their hand, so it's quite likely it's the Cutlass. They hexing that. It's fine. Use the coin. I think if I use this, it means I got a big board. They had to use a Thrall's Gift that turn. It's turn 7 for them as well. I think I just go it. Because I honestly don't think they have a way to clear that. Next turn's always going to be a reattaching weapon, so I'll just keep it.
The storms will swallow my enemies. Who could put a price on such powerful artifacts? I could.
They have a Grifter. I didn't think they'd be playing that, but with my little frog here, it should be able to outlast it. As long as they don't get pop-up book. But even if they did, they wouldn't be able to do the switch for it, so they're going to use that. It goes into there, and then I can just win the next turn. I honestly wasn't expecting a Grifter, but it's fine.
The storms will swallow my enemies.
last star. This is the gatekeeper, final boss. Okay, playing against a druid.
I must protect the wild.
Don't want to keep any of this. Druids can always high roll. That's the problem that you may come up against for this. But then again, I'm a high roll deck as well. I can't really talk. Always dig for treasure here. South Sea Deckhand. Ugh. I think I'm probably just gonna hold out for the gear shift. I think they're playing Hydration Druid. So I feel like I played against this person just earlier. With that draw, I think it may be just gear shift.
The pleasure is mine. Here we go.
No, I'll just keep it. I can do the prep dubious purchase turn if I need to, so it means that I'll be able to get my Shaffar a lot easier. Using the coin, new heights, that's fine. Do I just get do I just activate the South Sea Deckhand? I could. So if I go this, prep this, it means that those two go back.
As a gracious host, I will tend to.
Because once again, coin's better than prep.
How entertaining.
Okay. I got another prep anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. Okay, open summons. So I've got breakdance, which is quite strong. I don't want to. I'm just going to use the dubious purchase first because I need to make sure that I have a minion. Then I can go South Sea Deckhand, go face, use the coin, the buff goes onto the 3 drop, use the breakdance, and I'll leave my weapon active because I don't think I'm going to be using it again. I don't think I'm going to be doing a weapon swing next turn either. I'm going to have to use all this mana. I need a 0 cost card, otherwise I won't be able to use it next turn. Okay, I got a backstab, that's quite good. Is it lethal? No, shouldn't be like that. Maybe I'll just take a turn and chill. It's raiding party. Then draw a card because I want to be drawing extra different cards out of my deck. Yeah, and then next turn I can get stuff going. I'm gonna hold the Valera's Gift this time for if they have the Ziliax. Taking 5 damage to the face. Okay, so the defense crystal's fine. I got a Shadow Step as well. Is that going to be lethal? So, backstab here. Play the rush. No, I don't think so. So actually we'll use the Valera's Gift here. Grab it as a backstab so I can do more combos if I need to. Goes onto there. Can go here. So play down the South Sea Deckhand. Backstab South Sea Deckhand. Go face. Shadow Step it. Go face. Just keeping the breakdance just in case. I don't think they will be running Innovate. So they shouldn't be able to access Ziliax this turn, next turn. Oh, okay. That should just be lethal. Play Deafen. Let him the Buccaneer. Grip face. And then the South Sea Deckhand gets lead. Oh, it doesn't get lethal.
Here we go.
Oh dear. Because it went onto the Nexus. Okay, I'm 1 damage off. Should have waited for the draw. Oh, Miss Lethal. That's great. Jeez. Can I still lose with the Ziliax coming out? I don't think so. But that's bad. Okay, so 6-2 can go into here. That was bad. Oh, okay. I think it's probably enough for today. Been streaming for a few hours, and obviously I got the legend that I was looking for. Yeah, and you know, it does show the power of the deck, like simply being able to misplay that